Murmurations. Now, murmurations are that amazing flocking ability of particularly starlings that they have just before they roost. You can have 750,000 birds flying in synchrony in the sky. About an hour before they go to roost, and they'll fly backwards and forwards across the sky. They're traveling at 80 kilometers an hour in these enormous, tightly packed flocks, which then have this synchronous change of direction. They're particularly spectacular. And at the moment, there's a beautiful YouTube clip of one of these events, which you can see when you have a look online here on my web page. But have a look at it. The reason they're called murmurations is whilst the birds are moving backwards and forwards, they're making this sound, and it's partly the sound of the wings and partly the sound of the calls of the birds with this sort of low-level calling. And so these flocks have this sound about them, which is how they get the name murmurations. Now, for many years, scientists have tried to work out how you can have so many birds traveling in synchrony, 80 kilometers an hour, and 750,000 birds all traveling in tight flocks. And what they've done is simulations of how the flocks would work. And what they believe happens is that each bird has a reference point to 7 others in the flock. And that's how they're controlling their movement. The birds closest to them can be relatively close. The birds in front and behind tend to be a bit further apart. And by keeping reference on the birds immediately around them, the whole flock, without a particular leader, these flocks are not like the V-shaped flocks you have where you have a lead bird, a small number of ibis or pelicans flying together with a lead bird. These birds are flying almost at random, so there's no leading point. So these simulations show that it's each individual bird relating to 7 birds around it, and then they're moving in these huge flocks, and they're developing these flocks just before they go into roost. And what will happen is the flocks will then crash down into the reeds or dense vegetation where they're going to spend the night. And the birds, it must be some sort of safety arrangement that they have, that flying in these huge flocks before they go to roost protects more birds. One of the reasons that scientists are interested in murmurations is that if we can understand how that sort of coordination occurs, it could have important implications to things like autonomous vehicles for humans, and how we can coordinate those sorts of things. So it's not only fascinating in the bird world, but there are many people in the technology world who are interested in how murmurations occur in the wild.